Hi there, it's Mary. Welcome back. So today I had some things that I wanted to share with you. I kind of rediscovered these in some of my books. I have these in with my children's books, mostly because of some of the spot illustrations in them, but they're really quite neat. I had never heard of the series before. They're called the American Geographical Society. So we've always heard of the National Geographic Society, but never the American Geographical Society. So this is American Geographical Society Around the World Program by Nelson Doubleday, Incorporated. And this is a kind of a cardboard drawer volume of books, and there's some extra ones that aren't in this. And I'm not really sure, I should have looked it up, and honestly I didn't think about it, but I feel like maybe this was an introductory set that maybe they give you as when you subscribe to the series of books, maybe. And it's in pretty rough shape. These were literally like $1 or $2 at a thrift store, and then these were each 50 cents at the same thrift store. I like the nice copper color, and the overall coloring is very nice, even though these are it's in admittedly pretty rough shape. It's very dried out, and it's coming apart at the seams. It wasn't the best made in the first place. You can see like the seams there and things like that. So, but the most important part is the contents inside. So these booklets are really cool. Each one is a different country, and there's an author that put together the information. This one is 1956 copyright. I think there's another one that's 1957. So this was prepared with the cooperation of the American Geographical Society. And the books themselves are in great shape. So it just kind of gives some information. And then you'll notice these big spots here that say plate and plate. This is a sticker book. How cool is that? So you were meant to read about them, go find the stickers, and place them into the book yourself. Now, with age, these have become stuck to one another. So a few of them still have some are still okay, but this one is an example of one that has kind of laminated to itself. I could probably steam them apart, but it would be risky. I'm not sure that that's really the route I want to go, because I feel like these may not be printed the same way as an actual stamp, and it may start to degrade the picture. But so you can only see part of the images. If I could pull them apart part of the way, you could at least still see part of the images, but it's left them unusable in their original intent. So unfortunate, but it's still pretty neat. Like you can see pictures, the island, perfume factory, old church, Easter lilies, the quiet streets in St. George, surfing, surf casting for fighting bonefish, whatever those are. This really cool car. So pretty neat. And I really love the illustrations. That was really the reason I got it. My love of travel and these really dinky illustrations of the cover are quite nice, especially as they work together in a set. And there's a lot of illustrations on the inside too that match. You can see this car in the illustration looks like, yes, the car from the sticker or the stamp or the image plate. I'm sure that they wanted something fancy for what they call these. So you can see a little map of some of the more noteworthy towns. Like this is St. George's, which is the original capital of the colony of Bermuda. I've never been to Bermuda. Let's look and see if there's any information about who illustrated these. Let's see, here's about the author. Richard Joseph was one of America's leading travel writers. His Guide to Europe and the Mediterranean and its predecessors, Your Trip Abroad and the Worldwide Travel Guide, have helped many thousands of travelers to plan and enjoy their visits to Europe, Latin America, and Hawaii. Okay. Nothing about the illustrator, so it must have been somebody with Doubleday, someone on contract with them. Oh, look, they're inviting you to use these back pages to paste in your collection of Bermudian stamps. So after you've gone and you've gotten stamps from this country, you can add your own back here. So, and it also has like interesting facts, like important dates, kind of like a, I wonder, I guess these were maybe the original type of travel guides. Maybe it was just an attempt to have a series of travel guides. So distances from Bermuda, 753 miles from New York. So it's an easy trip from New York. I think I saw somewhere in here where it's like a 3-hour flight. 990 from Florida, so probably like a 4-hour flight from there. So yeah, not far from DC, so I could see where this would be a very good vacation spot. What's interesting about this kind of stuff too is the history that's built into the information. I'm not going to pretend to know very much about Bermuda, but the way it's written is very much so of the time. So I'm sure that you can find some interesting things that they would not have said quite the same way today. Like, Bermuda's controlling families have been nicknamed for the 40 Thieves by critics who accuse them of running the island in their own best interests, controlling parliament through high property qualifications for voting and even higher for office holding and keeping prices high by putting import duties on practically everything to make up for the government revenue loss because there are no income and inheritance taxes. So that seems, it'll be interesting to see if that's still the case or if that would be reworded in modern times. I don't know. But there's quite a lot that's happened in the world since 1956 when this was published. So that's a tour of Rome, and let's look at the others. So this one, I like look at those all together. Is that not amazing? Such an amazing series. I like how they all look the same, but the font choice is just a little bit different to like match the country. So that's like their little bit. Everything else is the same styles of art and same kind of general color scheme. This one's a little bit different because it's so surrounded, it's an island, so it's surrounded by water, but it's really neat. This one's particularly pretty. I love the color schemes in these. I feel like I want to pull color palettes from these to use in illustrations. They're just lovely. Look at that little billy goat. These are great. Absolutely fantastic. So let's take a look inside. So this one's 1957. We've got places for the image plates again. So it's a very hands-on approach to travel guide. You get to see the black and white images, but you get to place your own color images, so you can feel part of the process. Another thing that I wish I had kind of researched a little bit would be to see where excavations were at the point of publication and to see how far things have gotten since then, or if new things, you know, because sometimes, you know, it's been quite a while since 1956, 57, so things, these excavation sites could have changed, or, you know, they may have been in the middle of excavating at the time of publication, but now they're full-fledged open to the public or fully excavated or whatever. So some really interesting things to read here. And then it would be interesting, like I said, to read about this and then look back at kind of now. Oh, here's useful phrases. Neat. The alphabet, which I had to learn in college anyway. And important dates in Greek history. So very, very cool. Very neat. Let's take a look at some of the color plates of this. Parthenon, Saronic Gulf, Temple of Apollo at Delphi, which we did not get to go to. Mystic setting for ancient dramas at Delphi. The Erechtheum with its Porch of Maidens, which we saw. Rhodes, the beautiful island of roses. We did not go to the islands when we went to Greece. A lot of people do, and I would like to go back and go, but we did not go. Corfu, Mykonos, Yeah. And let's see, I feel like, no, that's it. But they're, yeah, they're stuck together. So, looks like they would normally fold out here to one big flat sheet. So, I don't know, maybe at some point I'll try to disconnect them all, but for now, I don't think I'll be doing that. So, really love this one, love the colors. And then we have France. So we have major major landmarks, of course. And we have ox pulling a cart, which, okay. And I also like how the inside illustrations are different colors, which I think, yeah, this one is the same, but oops, they're all slightly different. So France is quite nice. $1956. This one has some quite nice, very clear black and white images. Making gloves. Silver. A glass of wine on the market day. And tapestries. Tapestry making. Look at all of those different colors. I'd imagine their colors going into that. So they're all just a little bit different. I guess it's based off of the photography they have available. Well, that's harsh. The problem of France today is that her former assets, a fertile land, skilled farmers and craftsmen, and a long cultural heritage equaled by few other nations, no longer suffice to make her a first-rank power in Europe. Seems a little harsh, doesn't it? We love you, France. So I suspect that there may be some strong opinions kind of woven into these. I just imagine like some guy sitting down in his favorite chair with his sweater and his pipe, legs crossed, smoking a pipe, looking these over as he plans his vacation with the family. Vacation of a lifetime. Let's see, the stamp issues of France are colorful and varied. You may like to use these back pages and paste a collection of French stamps as you acquire them. So, not a generic statement for all of them. They're all a little bit different. Now let's take a look at the image plates. Kind of makes me want to go back and see what they said about Greece. They didn't provide any places. Let's take a look. Oh. Sidewalk Cafe. Arch de Triomphe. Browsing the bookstalls, that's a real thing. I got a book from the bookstalls. Not too far from Notre Dame. Dancing in the Streets, July 14th. Pont-Neuf. Notre Dame. Luxembourg Garden. We stayed not too far. Look at all the people. Oh my gosh. There really were boats on the water. Little remote control boats and things. Eiffel Tower. Joan of Arc statue. Sacre-Cœur. Roman ruins and Arles. All the way to the Alps. Versailles, which is amazing. Kind of want to go back. I would love to go back to France. We've been to different parts of France and we love it. Absolutely love it. And I would go again and again. Now here we have Thailand. A whole other area of the world. And we have a tiger. Some beautiful monumental buildings that I'm sure are ancient. Elephants. Some traditional people. Gems. On the back we have some more large cats. Some more people. Looks like they're demonstrating probably one of the major exports, or one of the things their country's known for. Honestly, don't know a lot about Thailand either. $1957. I don't believe in any of this particular set that any of the image plates had been used. Some of the additional ones that I got outside of this 5-book set, there were some. So I could be wrong, but I don't think any of them had them placed. Picture of a cat, but didn't really say why. Siamese cat, that's why. This was the time when the old name of Siam that had been used since the 11th century was changed to the present name of Thailand. So that was in 1939. Really nice drawings. That's beautiful. That would be such a sight to see in real life. Such a beautiful culture. I would love to see. So this book is so intact that it kind of shows how they were originally, how the image plates were originally put in. Let's go look at some more of these illustrations and I'll go back to that. I wonder how often people traveled to Thailand in 1957. Seems much more common now, but I think that would be a very exotic trip for an American, at least in 1957. So it talks about the currency required documentation for U.S. citizens. Important dates. There's a big plate. I have to look for that secret plate 25. I like how they call her out. This middle-aged lady. Thanks. It's oddly specific. Why does it matter? Anyway. So it looks like they were stapled into the center. So with this particular set, they have not been removed. Oh, look at there. Do we risk it? Let's do it. It's starting to get a little risky. There's a little bit of paper tear on the edges, so I won't continue, but let's take a look at the images we can see. The flag, traditional dancing and costumes. Temple prayer hour. And then this is that big plate inside the marble walls of a bronze Buddha. Very cool. Let's see, you have my attention, a snake farm. If you are tired of temples, you might visit the snake farm of the Pasteur Institute. It is a classic of Bangkok and quite interesting. There are plenty of snakes in Thailand, and Bangkok gardens are full of them. Don't indulge in walking barefoot on the lawn. The minute crate that bites you between the toes could give you quite a bit of trouble. Snakes, sometimes even large pythons, live peacefully under the houses whence they emerge at night, once or twice a week to go hunting. Watching the feeding of snakes is quite a sight. Some of the most dangerous reptiles refuse to eat in captivity and have been forcibly fed with milk or meat rammed down their throats. Nice. One man does the feeding while another keeps the snake dangling from his firm grip behind the neck. It sounds harsh as well. Very interesting. So what do we have left? We have Ireland and India. And look at those covers. Just so beautiful. I really do love them. Let's take a look at Ireland. We've got cemetery, some horses, football, or is that rugby maybe? Sheep farming, cricket, hay and farming, some type of traveling, or I'm not sure what that should indicate, but very cool. And of course the inside illustration colors were green. Irish sweepstakes have stimulated interest all over the world. The nurses in this picture are taking winning tickets from the huge revolving drum. The proceeds of the sweepstakes go to the hospital trust. Let's see. This is Ireland has few minerals. The country's greatest natural resource is peat, which has been intensely developed as a commercial fuel for power stations during the last 15 years. Talks about Irish whiskey, cottage craftsman. These little parts, these books really kept up quite well over the years. Of course, except for the plates sticking together. It's really a shame too, because some of these images are very nice and they're very clear. Well done. There's someone gonna kiss the Blarney Stone. Apparently, it is it's not easy. I've seen that particular, people have to kind of contort a little bit. So I hate that I can't see everything. You can see their double-decker buses were, it looks like they're green. I don't feel like they've highlighted some of the best parts of Ireland in this. I've not been, but which I can't believe we haven't been there yet, but talks about custom regulations. Travelers are limited to the importation of 5 pounds in British banknotes. So different things like that, which I have a feeling there's probably something, but it might have changed since then. And then the last one in this initial set is India. Again, just beautiful colors. Let's look. We have statues and tigers again, and elephants, and Taj Mahal, other animals, traditional people doing traditional India things, sports, gyms. Some of these are similar to what we saw on the Thailand. Shows which, yeah, very cool. The 257. I love that. That's a nice illustration. Oh, they did start putting some of these in so we can see them in place. That's cool. There we go. Makes the page stiff right there. Let's see, the national flag. Saffron for courage, white for truth, green for faith. And the wheel of law symbolized the new India. Prime Minister Nehru has called the flag a message that India wants to be friends with every country in the world. Let's see. Diversity of tongues. As remarkable as size are the dramatic changes in topography and climate of India and the appearance, wealth, languages, customs, religion of its people. Language is a fine example. 845 different languages and major dialects are now in use. This is one state, Madhya, I'm going to have to excuse all of my pronunciations, Madhya Pradesh, smaller in area than California, has 377 alone. That's a lot. That would be very isolating if you didn't speak the same dialect, if it was that vastly different. I can't imagine. This ancient lighthouse with its temple shrine guided sailors centuries ago when Indian vessels ruled the Eastern world. Look at that. That would be so cool to see. It looks like, yeah, this one's got all the stickers in it. Yay. Very neat. It's the only one. Just nice little illustrations. I was trying to see if there was something in particular to talk about with those, but not really. It's just looks like they're talking about different cultures and things, but there's nothing in particular that refers to. Wow. This is Akbar, the great Mughal ruler, built his lavish capital at Fatehpur Sikri, not far from Agra. 50 years later, scarcity of drinking water forced its complete abandonment. Stables in the foreground here. And the palaces and mosques and walls are almost perfectly preserved at 400 years. Look at all that back there. Ah, that'd be neat to walk through. And look at the elephant. Oh, some little biographies about well-known Indians like Gandhi. So here are handy words and phrases in Hindustani. I've never heard of it referred to as Hindustani before. I don't know. Everybody knows namaste. Right. Oh, this is cool. Look at that. Indian dishes. It gives you some recipes. Meat and potato curry, chicken pulao, chipatis. I don't know what that is. Rasagula. How cool is that? And apparently the stamps in India are also colorful and varied. So, really neat. So how many volumes? There's actually 6 volumes in that initial set. So I found 5 additional at the thrift store. So let's take a look. Italy. These are some of my favorite parts of some of these maps. Let's see what year this one was. This is interesting. These are older, I guess. 56, 62, and 63. So that must mean that this one is at least 1963, right? So yeah, maybe this was part of a series that people could sort of subscribe to. There's a lot of that back in the day. I did some like that with National Geographic Society when I was a kid. So maybe it's similar. But look at this little map. Those are really neat. Oh, look at those pages. A little bit more modern, a little different. Trying to cover an entire country like Italy in one little book is going to be really hard. They really got a lot jammed in there. With the volcanoes, and of course Rome. Palermo and Sicily, of course, as well. Venice. I mean, there's just so much. They put some stamps, so they didn't do all of them. And another nice map of just Venice. Another nice big picture spread. I didn't see these in any of the previous. And a nice big map of Florence. Pompeii. I've stood almost exactly in that same spot. So yeah, not all of the stamps were used, but I don't see them in the book. So those were lost. Now Bolivia. Oh, there they are. Yeah, this one's in great condition. You've got some alpacas or llamas. I'm not sure. Maybe there's both there. I don't know. The train. I'm not sure what that's about. Some traditional people doing some traditional things. Oil? Is that oil? I don't know. Fabric tapestries. There's a little bit of writing on this one. Waterfall, mountains. Let's see. Ooh, look at that one. It's really cool. Let's see what year this one was. 59 and 65. So, yeah, this is another maybe a little bit more updated version. The history of Indians in Bolivia. So a visual, more visual type things on this one, a little bit different. Another one, historical events of Bolivia. So instead of just making it a list, they've made it visual, which is super fun. Oh, wait, let's see. I was trying to see if they said llama or alpaca. I should know the difference, right? So these did not get terribly stuck together, but it could be because these are a little bit young, not as old. Stone carvings, the flag, the world's highest ski field, taking the crops to the market, boats on the lake, pretty neat. The Arabian Peninsula, 1959, 1964. Let's see, kind of a brownish. Oh look, they've started to, but they didn't put them in there. Let's see. What are we going to talk about with the Arabian Peninsula? Not all Arabs are Arabians, okay. The search for oil never ceases. I'd say that was true everywhere today as well. All around the world. Another great map. The tribes of Arabia. Map. Let's see. I guess this is just kind of mapping out the areas of the Arabian Peninsula. I think I would have done that earlier on. So there's also important dates, alphabet, which that's interesting because that's, you know, very different. So that's very helpful. I'm not really sure how much most Americans can do with that. I know I would probably be useless at it, but yeah, there's numbers. I think there was phrases, yes. Arabic words and phrases with English equivalents. Yeah. And this was like, I think this was just used as a bookmark. I thought this was interesting that I found this. How to care for your Moore gym suit. So I don't know if this is like a school gym suit, like their gym outfits, or if this was, I don't know. Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? And it says, become a gym teacher. Choose a career in physical education. Yeah, you get a free booklet. And then on the inside, I didn't see this either. 5 easy ways to add life and add comfort to your Moore gym suit. Wash gym suit after each use. Use Niagara starch, America's most famous brand, and 2 easiest formulas to use. Never, 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 never use bleach. Bleach weakens the fibers. But starch it. Just never use bleach. I'm sure starching it would make it very comfortable, right? Anyway, I thought it was neat. This little bookmark, which I'm assuming it's from the 60s. Maybe these were in a school somewhere. Maybe they were in a classroom. And then we have Germany. This is our last one. Oh yeah, oh look at there. And we've got Stuttgart, churches, traditional singing and Lederhosen, castles, Lubeck, Steins, Hamburg. Been to both of those. Leipzig, Potsdam, Dresden, Frankfurt. So all the different places. Let's see. Some great pictures. (1960) and 1965. So this one came a little later. Sunshine penetrates the deep depths of the Black Forest as much as any other dense woods, but legend has made them somehow blacker and more awesome. The dark evergreens, rather than the density of the trees, are probably responsible for the name Black. The region is very beautiful. We didn't get to spend very much time there, but we loved it. Here's a nice men and events that shaped German history. I think we all know some of the people on that list. Some more of these beautiful picture spreads. Yeah, look at that. Very cool. cheese display, beer, chimney sweep. Agricultural and industrial products of Germany. Hogs, dairies, airplanes. Chemicals, sugar beets, bells, just machines, scientific and math instruments, machinery, livestock, porcelain, shipbuilding, jute, furniture, locomotives, lots of sugar beets. It's fun to say, sugar beets, sugar beets. Pianos, there's lots of stuff. And here we have the pictures that are, I'm going to pull those apart a little bit. There's the eagle's nest, little parts of Bavaria, violin maker, head of a business empire. Quiet corner of Stuttgart, hiking in the Black Forest, Dinkelspiel, Munich, West German capital, and here are some more. Wasserburg on Lake Constance, Lorley Rock. Ooh, look at that. Palace of a King, Schloss Linderhof. Cuckoo clock carver. Say that 10 times fast. Cuckoo clock carver. Talks a little bit about Berlin and the east and the west. It says, the visitors from the west today can normally reach Berlin with a combined population of 3.3 million. 2.3 million in the west, 1 million in the east, only by flying over some part of East Germany. The western half of the city is thus an island outpost in the area of Soviet influence. To enter East Berlin is to enter a different world. Big portraits of communist leaders greet the visitor. People look poorer and grim-faced. Regimentation is evident even in the new apartment buildings in the Stalin Alley, which all look alike. By contrast, much of the pre-war glamour has now returned to West Berlin. Shops are again full of goods, and smartly dressed Berliners crowd the cafes of the glittering Kurfürstendamm, which has taken the place of the Unter den Linden, now in the eastern sector, as a fashionable street. Berlin was probably the most severely devastated of all German cities. Its citizens planted flowers on many of the rubble heaps. So yeah, you have to think this was published when this was all still pretty fresh. Yeah. This would be an interesting read to get a little farther and see if there's anything else about East and West. Here's something about Berlin. Just kind of there's the wall. Right? Yeah. Interesting. You know, they don't, it just says Germany. It doesn't say anything about East and West. So, that is interesting as well. That they did not separate them out for this travel guide. And there's no, let's see, important dates. But there's really, you know, you would think that there would be some information about the specifics of traveling to one versus the other. But I didn't see anything like that. But such an interesting set. Such a little time capsule that can be found with these. And I hope you enjoyed looking through those. I've not looked through them as in depth before, so I really find them very interesting and had halfway considered redonating these, but after a closer look, I don't know that I'm going to be able to with these beautiful illustrations. They're just too neat. I don't think I'm going to be able to part with them. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at these with me, and let me know your thoughts on these in the comments below. Bye.